There's a record I like from the late 1990s by the dance band Orbital. And at the beginning of that record is a sample of a conversation between a father and his son. And the little boy asked the father, "Daddy, what does regret mean?" And the father, in a very world-weary voice, says to him, "Well, son, the funny thing about regret is it's better to regret something you have done than to regret something you haven't done." Now, my alarm went off at 1:15 this morning after a fairly fitful sleep, and I did not want to get out of bed at all. But I dragged myself out of bed, I came downstairs and I looked out the window and I saw a lot of cloud in front of the moon, and I didn't see many stars in the sky. Now, that's what the forecast said it might do, so that was always on the cards. And I considered going back to bed. There was this gnawing feeling inside me. What if I missed the opportunity to take some great shots? What if I missed just being out under the stars and not enjoying the sounds of nature around me? For me, that feeling of missing something, of not being out under the stars, is always worse than the feeling of being out, giving it a go, and just enjoying being out in nature. Now, I've shot here before, quite a few times in fact, and the pool that I'm just sitting in front of, I've done a couple of time lapses there in the past. I'll perhaps put one of them up on the screen now. I'm here actually today for a very different composition, one that I noticed earlier today when I came down here, which I haven't really seen before, and that is in the shingle behind me. I noticed a couple of wood piles that I thought would make quite interesting foreground compositions, and there's a very beautiful dead tree which I think would make a nice silhouette against the rising Milky Way. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to get a rising Milky Way this morning. It's looking pretty cloudy in that direction. It is due to get slightly clearer at about 3, pushing towards 4 a.m. But at 4 a.m. the sky will start getting a little bit lighter as twilight begins. And that kind of coincides with when the moon there starts to set. So we're out anyway, we'll make the most of it. Hopefully we'll get some good shots as well. So thanks for coming, let's get on with it. Okay, so the composition I'm playing with here is to have the tree in focus, but the background Cygnus area will be thrown into that sort of lovely bokeh effect. The challenge I've got is getting low enough so I can really get the nice relief of the tree. I think I'm going to have to get this tripod a bit lower. which is easier said than done with this tripod. I'm trying here to get a composition that works. There's quite a lot of foreground clutter here. There are various grasses and seed heads and things like that. And it's tempting at times like this to do a bit of gardening and to clear away some of the detritus from the early part of the foreground, but where possible I try not to do that. Just try not to disturb the landscape that I'm in. So I'm just going to try a couple of other angles on this. I think I finally got this first shot. So I'm nice and low underneath this dead tree, and I've got the sort of Deneb end of the Cygnus region, and I've just about got Lyra and the star Vega in the top right of the frame as well. I'm shooting in portrait orientation, ISO 2000, 10-second exposure, and I'm at f2, which when I'm this close with the 24mm Sigma art lens gets me a really nice bokeh effect in the stars. That seems to be working quite well. It'll probably work well as a single shot, but I'll perhaps take 5 here so I can stack them if necessary. And I might do one shot with long exposure noise reduction as well. I've got a little bit of low level lighting on the tree here, which actually is the light I use for the video light. And whilst it's not eye-popping Milky Way goodness, I still think this is going to be quite a nice shot. I've got the next composition lined up here. I've got the 35mm Samyang on, and I'm shooting, there's a really nice teasel here and the dead tree, and they are in front of the Rho Ophiuchi region and Antares, which are rising in the southeast at the moment, and that's looking very nice. And again, I focused here on the tree and the teasels rather than on the stars, but I will then go and do a version of this shot from the other side of here and probably get the tracker on and get a bit of that Milky Way core and Antares rising. Antares is looking really super orange in this shot, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm at f2.8, so it's an f1.4 lens, which I stopped down to f2.8. I am at ISO 1250, 10-second exposure. And that's looking kind of cool. I do need to get a bit of a bead on now and get the star tracker out, which is what I'll do now. You can hear the nature reserve start to wake up now. It's definitely the coolest time of day. Okay, so we're all set up here, shooting the track shots of the Milky Way core. I've got Rho, Ophiuchi and Antares over on the right hand side of the frame, as you saw when I took the original composition. Shooting with the Samyang 35mm, I'm at f, might be just less than f4, ISO 800, and I'm shooting 30-second exposures with a 3-second interval. I'm going to take some other compositions with the other camera while this is running away. I'll probably do 15, 20 shots. Final composition of the night. It's just about starting to dawn now, and we're back down at this pool which is completely still, and we have some beautiful reflections of Rho, Ophiuchi and the Antares region in the still water. So I'm shooting with a 24mm Sigma art lens. I'm at f2.8 and I'm shooting 15-second exposures at ISO 2000. And I'll probably do about 20 of these shots and stack them for noise reduction. And this is what I love about this time of the night, just before dawn, when everything is just so still. The birds are starting to wake up. Although around here they never really go to sleep for very long. It seems anyway. But the air is so still. And when you've got a water surface, it's like looking on a mirror, like seeing the stars reflected. I'm looking down now at this lake surface, this pool surface, and I can see almost as many stars as I can see up in the sky. I can see familiar patterns and constellations. It really is amazing. As you can now probably see behind me, dawn is here. And all I can say about tonight is absolutely no regrets. I'm so glad that I dragged myself out here. And that's what it was. It was dragging myself out here, because it has been such a rewarding night. The skies cleared beautifully after that initial cloud. And whilst I probably haven't got any portfolio shots tonight, I have got my first Milky Way core of the season, and that is always special. So the message today is get out there. Just get out there. If you're not out there, you can't take any images. If you are out there, something special could happen. There's a really good video which I'll link in the description from Martin Franson, whose channel I strongly recommend you follow, who recently was talking about precisely this, that don't wait for perfect conditions. Just get out there in the conditions that you've got and make something of those conditions. And that's what I've tried to do this evening, or this morning as it is now. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel for more of these sort of nightscape adventures out in the field. And if any of those images that I took tonight turn out to be any good, I'll put them on the screen after this. But until next time, thank you very much indeed for watching.